People must always be careful with books and what they contain, for words possess the power to change us. J.R.R. Tolkien. A profound psychological truth. Human beings are shaped not only by their experiences, but also by the stories they absorb. Words are not mere lifeless symbols. They are seeds that fall into the soil of the mind. If the soil is fertile enough, they will sprout into beliefs, attitudes, and even destinies. When we read a book, we are not simply turning pages. We are opening the doors of our inner world to let an entire ideology step inside. Each sentence is like a drop of ink spreading through water, slowly coloring the way we see the world. A single idea repeated often enough can become our subjective truth. A haunting image can shape our deepest fears. A positive philosophy can ignite hope. The human mind is far more sensitive and impressionable than we realize. It quietly records, accumulates, and then reshapes itself according to everything it is fed each day. Being careful with books is not about doubting knowledge, but about recognizing its immense power. Just as we choose nourishment for our bodies, we must also choose spiritual nourishment for our souls. Some books make us shrink into pessimism, others expand the borders of our awareness and leave us wiser after every chapter. Words can chain us, but they can also set us free. We read not only with our eyes, but with awakened awareness. We welcome noble thoughts to stay and bravely question anything that twists us. Because in the end, we become what we absorb. And when we learn to choose the words that nourish us, we are actively writing a deeper and clearer version of our own lives. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present. Eleanor Roosevelt. Yesterday, something we often cherish or torment ourselves over, is really just a museum of memories, where events have turned to fossils and can no longer be changed. We can step inside to learn, but if we fall asleep there, we become the caretaker of things that have already died. Tomorrow is different. It is like thick fog blanketing the horizon of our minds, stirring both hope and anxiety. People often project their own fears onto the future, painting ghosts that have never existed, then trembling before their own imagination. Only today, the moment beating inside our chests is truly alive. The present is a gift not because it is perfect, but because it is the only opportunity we have to act, to love, to correct mistakes, and to grow. In psychology, mental energy is truly released only when we focus on what is happening right now. When the mind stops wandering between past and future, it returns to its wisest state, awake. Just as sunlight can only warm us when we step out of the shadows of nostalgia and worry, life only truly shines when we dare to touch this very moment. We no longer live as if dragged along by time. We become the ones who consciously create meaning. Every morning we wake up is an unopened gift box, and our attitude is the pair of hands that decides how we receive it. When we learn to cherish the present, the past becomes a lesson, the future becomes motivation, and life, no matter how many challenges it holds, still radiates a warm energy that makes us smile along our journey. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone into the water to create many ripples. Mother Teresa. The world is as vast as an ocean, and each of us is merely a small figure standing on the shore. Yet the moment we bend down, pick up a stone, and choose to throw it, we have already begun to change the current of reality. People are often paralyzed by the feeling that they are too small to make a difference. We look at enormous problems and shrink back, like a drop of water afraid of the sea. Yet change has never begun with something grand. It always starts with one conscious act. That stone might be a kind word, an honest decision, a courageous action, or simply living true to our own values. When it touches the water, it creates expanding circles, invisible influences that reach others and keep multiplying through the choices that follow. Impact does not need to be loud to be profound. A smile can change someone's mood. That mood can soften a conversation. That conversation can save a relationship. The human mind works like the surface of a lake, sensitive to every ripple, no matter how small. Therefore, every action we take carries the potential to grow. We only need the courage to act within our own sphere. When we choose to throw the stone of kindness, responsibility, and hope into the water of life, we set in motion a chain of movement whose full reach we may never measure. And who knows, from those seemingly fragile ripples, the ocean of humanity may slowly begin to change direction. Be yourself because everyone else is already taken. Oscar Wilde. In a world where we easily put on social masks, even the most perfect copy will never have the soul of the original. People unconsciously copy others. We imitate the way others speak, live, and even dream because we believe it is the safest path to acceptance. But acceptance gained at the cost of losing ourselves creates a quiet emptiness inside. Like a tree that tries to grow in the shape of the one beside it, it will become twisted and weak because its roots never grip the soil in the most natural way. Being yourself is not rebellion or stubbornness. It is a courageous journey of facing both the light and the darkness within your soul. It is acknowledging your strengths without arrogance and recognizing your weaknesses without self-contempt. When we fully accept our entire being, we no longer need to compare ourselves. For every person is a unique psychological structure formed by their own experiences, memories, and desires. Society may be filled with glittering templates, but the truth is the world does not need another perfect copy. It needs your authentic presence. When we live true to our own nature, the energy we radiate becomes natural and powerful. Like a fire burning with its own fuel, we no longer have to strain to shine. And in that moment, we realize being yourself is not only the greatest freedom, but also the most profound gift we can offer life. We are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle. We are not shaped by rare moments of brilliance, but by the small movements that happen every single day. One excellent action may make others applaud. Only habit quietly builds the structure of character. Every repeated thought is like a path worn across the field of consciousness. Walk it enough times and it becomes the default road. Every action performed etches a mark on the nervous system, gradually shaping reflexes and attitudes toward life. That is why excellence is not fireworks blazing for one festive night. It is a lamp lit steadily every evening, even when no one is watching. We are often mesmerized by the final achievement and forget that behind it lies a chain of disciplined days repeated over and over. A musician does not become masterful because of one inspired performance, but because of thousands of silent practice hours in an empty room. A strong soul is not created by one act of courage, but by choosing every day to face things instead of avoiding them. That repetition may feel tedious at first, but it is precisely within that tedium that resilience is forged like steel in a slow-burning furnace. We no longer wait for great motivation to begin. We simply adjust the small behaviors of today. Because every repeated choice is a vote for the person we want to become. And when we persistently cast those votes every day, excellence stops being a distant destination and becomes our natural identity, a habit of living that shines from within. It is our choices, far more than our abilities, that show who we truly are. J.K. Rowling. Ability is the seed we are given at birth. Choice is how we decide which soil to plant it in. A person may possess sharp intellect and outstanding talent, but if their decisions are driven by fear, selfishness, or indifference, then their true nature revealed is not their potential, but their moral direction. Ability belongs to potential, choice belongs to will. Ability can make us admired, choice makes us trusted. When standing at a crossroads between what is easy and what is right, between personal gain and lasting values, it is the moment we decide that truly reflects our soul. Like a boat, talent is the strong sail, but choice is the hand on the tiller that decides whether the vessel heads toward the shore of light or drifts into dark waters. People often excuse their mistakes with the words, "I could have done better." But in reality, we always act according to the level of awareness we allow ourselves. Every repeated decision creates the trajectory of our lives, like small bricks building a house. We do not become kind simply because we are capable of love. We become kind when we choose to love, even when it is not convenient. Through the power of choice, we realize we are not bound by our inborn limits. Every day is an opportunity to redefine ourselves through small but consistent decisions. And in that awakening, we find freedom. Freedom not to show off our abilities, but to choose to become the truest and most beautiful version of ourselves. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Albert Einstein. Knowledge is what has already been recorded, systematized, and framed in books and experience. It is like a detailed map of lands already explored. But imagination is the ship that dares to leave the harbor and sail into the vast ocean where no one has ever set foot. Knowledge helps us understand the world as it is. Imagination allows us to envision the world as it could become. Knowledge has limits, it is bound by facts and existing reality. Imagination does not. It bends the straight lines of logic and opens doors that pure reason has not yet noticed. Every invention, every great leap of humanity began with a bold vision in someone's mind long before it became a formula, a law, or a doctrine. If knowledge is the brick, then imagination is the architect. We may own countless bricks, but without the ability to imagine a new structure, we can only rebuild the old houses. Imagination breathes soul into knowledge, turning dry facts into living creation. It is also the capacity that allows us to empathize, because we can only put ourselves in another person's place when we dare to imagine their feelings and perspective. That does not mean knowledge is worthless. On the contrary, it is the solid foundation. But it is imagination that becomes the engine lifting us above the ground of what is already known. When we nurture imagination, we do not merely accumulate information, we expand the borders of what is possible. And within that open space, human beings find freedom to dream, to create, and to transcend the limits we once believed were unchangeable. Appreciate the small things in life, because one day you will look back and realize they were the big things. Robert Brault. People are often so busy chasing dazzling peaks that they forget to bend down and pick up the sparkling pebbles at their feet. We are used to measuring value by size and show, but our inner life is nourished by the simple things we easily overlook. Humans tend to love grand milestones, achievements, fame, turning points, yet the deepest memories are rarely the grand ceremonies. They are usually the scent of a family meal, a warm glance, or the quiet moment someone stayed by our side when we felt weak. Those small things are like delicate threads, weaving together day after day to create the tapestry of our emotions. When we are young, we see only separate strands. Only later do we recognize the whole picture. The small joys, a gentle sunny morning, a sincere greeting, a time we overcame ourselves are the very bricks that build lasting happiness. They are not loud, but they endure. Like a heartbeat, we rarely notice it while it beats steadily. Only when it is gone do we understand the value of the ordinary. Cherishing small things is not settling for mediocrity, but living with awakened presence. When we learn to pause, observe, and feel grateful, we open our hearts to the silent miracles around us. And then, one day when we look back, we will smile and realize it was precisely those seemingly tiny moments that supported us, warmed us, and quietly created the great meaning of an entire lifetime. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. From the turbulent outer world to the silent inner space where streams of thoughts flow day and night and quietly shape our emotions, actions, and even our destiny. Thoughts are not just passing clouds across the sky of consciousness. They are the filter that decides what color we see life in. Two people can stand under the same rain. One complains about getting wet, the other smiles because the earth and sky are being cleansed. The difference lies not in the rain, but in the interpretation. The quality of our thoughts is like the quality of water that nourishes a tree. If pure, the tree grows green and strong. If polluted, the roots rot from within. Repeated negative thoughts can become invisible chains. When we grow accustomed to viewing ourselves with doubt and the world through a lens of pessimism, we are building our own prison of perception. On the other hand, positive thoughts are not naive illusion, but the choice to look at possibilities instead of limits, at lessons instead of failures. It is mental training, like exercising the mind every day. What is astonishing is that we have the right to choose the thoughts we feed ourselves. We cannot control every event, but we can control how we respond to them. When we learn to replace resentment with gratitude and fear with curiosity, the quality of our inner life will change. And when the inner world changes, the world we experience transforms as well. Happiness, therefore, is not a distant destination, but the natural result of a mind that has been carefully tended. When we raise the quality of our thoughts, we raise the quality of our lives. Because in the end, life is not just what happens to us, but how we think about what happens, and it is precisely within that space of thought that happiness is born and grows every day. Not every day is good, but there is something good in every day. Morse Earle. Human life is never perfectly smooth. There are days when clouds cover the soul, work piles up, and emotions tangle. We easily conclude that the entire day was a failure. But the psychological truth is far more subtle. We often mistake one difficult moment for the whole picture. The human mind tends to magnify the negative one. Criticism can overshadow 10 compliments. One small mishap can tint the whole day gray. That is an ancient self-defense mechanism, but if left unchecked, it blinds us to the rays of light that are still present. Even on an exhausting day, there can still be a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a caring message, or the moment we tell ourselves, "I did my best." Those things are as small as specks of dust in sunlight, yet they are what make the light visible. Recognizing that not every day is good is a sign of maturity. It allows us to accept reality without illusion. But believing that there is something good in every day is an act of conscious hope. It is the choice to turn our minds toward what is worth gratitude instead of drowning in what is missing. Like a gold panner sifting through sand, we must be patient and perceptive to spot the shining flakes among the sediment of daily chaos. When we train our eyes to find the good, we do not turn life into perfection, we simply make our hearts softer. And then, even on stormy days, we can still walk through them with the quiet faith that somewhere in that day, a seed of light has been planted, waiting for us to bend down, smile, and recognize it.